I've had well over 1 million streams on Spotify without a single editorial placement. And about 30 to 40% of that is because of Spotify's algorithm. So between the editorial and algorithmic playlists, I would definitely encourage artists to put more focus towards Spotify's algorithm. By doing the things that you should already be doing, like driving traffic to your music or, making quality enough music where people add it to their playlist and they're repeatedly listening to your songs. But by showing Spotify that people actually listen and engage with your music, like they're really enjoying it, it gives them enough data to push your music out to other people with similar tastes. I'd rather have 100,000 people listen to my song 10 times each than 1 million people listening to it once. What's good and welcome to Indie Leverage. We're back with episode number 5 of the Let's Talk About It show, where we're looking for some of the best advice out there for independent artists. Great music alone does not cut it anymore. Between creating content, marketing, branding, business, and everything else on the list of hats that we wear, it can get a little bit overwhelming trying to figure out which way's up and which way's down. So let's talk about it. The first piece of advice is going to be a clip from the music industry mentor who breaks down 4 types of content that you should be creating a month before your release.
If you're a month out from releasing music, here are 4 key posts that I suggest you do. And this is coming from someone who's worked in marketing at major record labels, and I've probably released over like 100 odd songs. I actually don't even know how many songs I've worked on at this point. I don't count. Okay, number 1 is your cryptic tease. This is like photos of lyrics, a behind the scenes shot, teasing. What I mean by teasing is do not give too much away because you want to create enough hype so people want more from you, but you are also not letting them know a release date when you tease. Basically, you just want to let people know that something is coming and you're building up your own hype to get your audience excited so they feel warm when you go into number 2, which is the official announcement. The official announcement should and always include an audio snippet, like a teaser part of the song. So if you are announcing your music and you're just posting the artwork, that is not enough in 2023. You need to be announcing your music with some of the audio, some kind of movement image at least. Number 3, incentive posts. What are you going to be posting about to incentivize your audience to sign up to your mailing list, join your Discord, follow you on Spotify, all these really important metrics that are important to build up ahead of releasing. Incentivize your audience to do stuff. That means giving them free shit, give away merch, give away guest lists, whatever it is that you need someone to go and do something. Incentive posts, they're really important for building up your audience ahead of release. Finally, the official announcement post. That's going to be your key asset. That could be something that's more organically led, that looks more like a TikTok or a reel, or it could be a higher quality cut down of like an official music video or visualizer or something, but something that feels very official, very big, and it can be shared far and wide.
I feel like it can get a bit tricky promoting your music before it's released, especially depending on what level you're at in your career. Definitely long gone are the days of posting just your cover art, especially if it's not even for a song that people can go listen to yet. Maybe as a quick story post, but even then, I like to do that when the song is actually out, like it actually drops, so I can add the music to the story. And you hear some people vouch for teasing your song or doing some sort of pre-save campaign. And then you hear other people recommend the complete opposite approach, and they say don't start promoting it until after it's released. And I personally lean more towards the second approach, although, to be fair, it's been a good year since I've even attempted to really promote a song before it was available on streaming platforms. And sometimes I'll hear a story of some artists doing a really good pre-save campaign where they get a ton of people to stream their song that first week it's released. And I guess the reason why I'm so hesitant to practice that approach is because the attention spans people have seems to only be getting shorter and shorter, you feel me? So even if I slightly tease a song and I successfully, give people just enough to be excited for its release, I feel like it could still be a bit of a gamble to expect those same people to have that same level of excitement once the song is actually dropped. And yeah, of course, to a certain extent, all marketing is really gambling and it's testing to see what works and what fails. But especially when you put your time and your budget into the equation, I feel like it's more important than ever for an artist to be making the best bets that they possibly can based off of the knowledge and the experience that they already have. And I think it was on an episode of Independent where the artist named Nick D said he would never start promoting a song before it's released. He said because if he were to put out a video and it pops off on TikTok or one of these other platforms, it's almost like leaving money on the table because a certain percentage of those people that watch the video would have gone to these other platforms like Spotify or Apple and not only streamed the song, but potentially they could have added it to their playlist and they would have continued streaming it over and over. But that kind of goes back to the attention span that people have. You know, if you put a video out and let's say it's successful, you're going to have people in your comments asking you stuff like, where is this at? You know, like when does it drop? Where can I listen to this? And then you start telling them something like, oh, it drops next month, stay tuned. Or I got the pre-save link in the bio. You know, the likelihood of them streaming that song now goes down drastically. And I guess you can argue that that's our job to try and retain as many people as possible and even take them on this journey with us. But when you break it down, it actually makes pretty good sense. You know, you may have heard that the more steps that you give someone to complete whatever task, the less likely that they'll actually do it. And we've all been there. It could even be something simple where, I've gone to like a video or I'll go to leave a comment and for some reason I'm not in the actual YouTube app, like it popped up on my Safari or something like that. And I can't even count how many times I just be like, nah, I'm good, man, never mind. You're trying to make me sign in and doing all that, man. Like, you doing too much. And you could look at simple examples like that where you could pay attention to your own actions and notice how you respond to certain things like that. Little barriers that you're just like, it's not worth the extra effort for me to do this. And it gives you some sort of insight on how far somebody's willing to go, or in this case, not go. So how many steps are you wanting them to take? Because you already put a video out and you wanted whoever to watch it to enjoy it enough to be interested in listening to the rest of your song. But by the song not being released yet, you're basically telling people that you want them to go through the additional steps of waiting whatever amount of time to get that song. So, in my opinion, keeping your existing fan base updated and in the loop on what's to come is one thing, but promoting an upcoming release to an audience that's never heard of you when the song ain't even out yet, I don't know, man. I feel like it could be a waste of time and a waste of effort, and that same energy could be used for something that's a lot more beneficial. So this isn't to say that I necessarily disagree with any of the 4 post ideas in the clip. I'm more so, I guess, encouraging you to consider the timing of what you post. Like when it comes to marketing, not only do you want people to not feel like it's marketing, but once they've bought in, I feel like it's important to make it as convenient as possible for them to do whatever the next step is that you want them to take. And that's like putting a link in your bio, but not making it clickable for people where they have to like physically copy and paste the link into their browser. I guess I just feel like it's easy for artists to forget that other people are not going to be as invested into their music as they are. But one of those posts that I feel like I'm lacking on, and you might be slipping on it as well, are those incentive posts. Something about email or SMS marketing for some reason has me like a deer in the headlights or something. Like, I know that technically that's a thing that I should be doing, but I guess a part of it is because I'm still not sure whether I want to do email or text. Like, I don't know which one would be better suited for my fan base. So regardless, I'm also talking to myself when I say that incentive posts are super helpful. And there's a reason why every major business or brand has some sort of email or SMS list. I don't know, I can't stand the thought of being all salesy, you feel me? Like, it doesn't have to be that black and white. There has to be some way to grow your list and make sales without being salesy, without being that cringy salesman that nobody hopefully wants to be. What's the cringiest way that you've had an artist share their music with you?
Ooh, Oh my God, I remember this one guy took me out and he brought me to this nice little restaurant and, you know, things were going good. There was a vibe, he was cute, he was sweet, and when I asked him what he did for a living, he told me he was a rapper. And I remember actually thinking that was cool, and I told him I wanted to hear something he made, and this man pulls up YouTube and starts rapping loud as fuck in front of everybody. Everyone was staring and laughing. I wanted to cry, I was so embarrassed.
Yeah, some guy came up trying to sell me his mixtape or something like that in the parking lot. I told him my car don't even play CDs, but that I'd check him out on Spotify. And he said he wasn't on there because streaming don't pay enough.
They send me all these SoundCloud links I never even asked for when I don't even use SoundCloud.
What? Why would a musician even send something to me? I don't understand.
So what platform do you like streaming music on then?
I mean, to be honest, I use YouTube, don't get me wrong. It's just I like to hear it when it's actually done, you know?
Yeah, I go on Spotify.
Spotify.
I just use the Apple Music stuff that comes on my phone. Why?
Whether it's your first time or if you're just tired of paying for every song you release, then it might be time to consider using DistroKid. Not only can you release unlimited songs to all major streaming platforms like Spotify and Apple for only $40 a year, they let us keep 100% of our royalties, and they even have direct deposit to make it easier than ever to get paid what we deserve. By using my referral link, you'll be able to sign up and receive 7% off on your first year. In full transparency, I do receive commission off of this, but this isn't like an official sponsorship type of deal. This is actually my own personal referral link that DistroKid gives to the artists that use their services. So I put the link that saves you money down in the description for you, but let's go ahead and get back to the video. Let's go ahead and take a look at the second clip that we got from Push Talk. It's kind of a perfect segue from our last topic because, you know, you might be like me where you don't want to come across to your audience like some kind of salesman. So in this next video, it talks about promoting the same song over and over again for months. If you've watched any of my other videos before, then you may already know that I have absolutely no problem doing this. But let's go ahead and take a look at why this strategy is so successful when promoting a song.
This dude been promoting the same damn song for like 3 months.
The same song you're promoting on TikTok will have wildly different results every time you promote it based on how you promote it. If you're just performing your song, it might do okay. But if you start the video with something interesting, it's probably going to perform way better because you're unlocking people's curiosity.
And I couldn't agree more with this video, man. They said that you can get wildly different results depending on the way that you promote it. And even though they was talking about the actual format that you promote your music in, I feel like that could also extend to what type of audience that you're targeting, you know, with each video. Of course, you got to take the song and your brand into consideration, but if you give it some time, you should be able to come up with several different types of audiences. An example could be like if you made a song about the best day you've had in a while, right? And of course, it depends a lot on how the song is written, but typically I like to write my songs specific enough for someone to feel like it could apply to them, and yet it's vague enough to where it can apply to multiple people in situations, you feel me? But if you made a song about the best day you've had in a while, you can make videos that take that same concept and then applies them in many different ways. So not only can you change the format of the videos and try to, you know, think of different things to make it as interesting as possible for people, but you can also tap into different audiences based off of the content that your song gets used in each video. You know, one person's best day in a while could be their child being born, but another person's best day in a while could be dancing with their crush for the first time and, you know, at their high school prom or something like that. So this will potentially attract two completely different audiences using the same song. And again, depending on how your song is structured, you know, you could come up with multiple ways to express your song and its message. And you could test out what content attracts what audience. And then you can always use that same information if you decide to ever put some money behind your videos and run some ads with it. But all I heard from that was artists need to get as creative as possible while they're promoting their music. And I, for one, approve that message. So moving on to the next clip from Sauce with Josh and Joey Dean, where they go over some key branding tips for artists.
Artists, I have a game-changing tip for you on how to effectively market your music to connect with the right fan base. Hi, my name is Jocelyn and I give away free music marketing tips weekly. I work with so many artists on the daily that have amazing music, but they're completely clueless when it comes to figuring out how to get their music in front of the right audience. So I have an exercise that'll help you do that. But first I want to say shout out to Joey Dean because this TikTok video of his that I saw yesterday did inspire this video, which I'll play for you guys in a bit. Now the problem I see with a lot of artists is that they don't have their brand or their narrative or their story or their audience or their content figured out and their marketing plan figured out, which means they're kind of just aimlessly putting things out with no business plan. Now with that being said, let me show you this video that Joey posted because he very simply drew out this exercise that I think a lot of you will find helpful. So I'm gonna plug the video in right here.
If you keep releasing song after song and you don't see your streams increasing, you're making one crucial mistake. Get out a sheet of paper, draw one circle at the top. Put in this circle what you do. Write what you're good at, your genre, everything that is you. Next, draw another circle and you're going to write what you stand for, what you represent, your values, the meaning behind your music. Next, what your ideal fan is. Write everything about your ideal fan, what they do, what they like, what they talk about on social media, and where these three categories meet in the middle is your starting point for creating content.
So Joey gave you guys a very simple exercise that I've been giving artists. He just painted it in a very beautiful Venn diagram. But the main point is if you're unable to define yourself as an artist, how is anybody else supposed to be able to define you? So if you're an artist that's struggling to figure out your brand identity, your audience, run through this exercise and watch your numbers 10x.
And honestly, that's probably one of the most important questions an artist can ask themselves when it comes to personal branding. By asking, how do I define myself? You're able to self-analyze who you are and what you stand for. And none of these are necessarily new concepts, but that's kind of the point, right? Like, we don't have to come in and reinvent the wheel. We don't have to fix anything that has yet to be broken. So breaking down the Venn diagram that he had, you have what do you do, what do you stand for, and what your ideal fan is. First part, I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory, but I encourage you to go deeper than just I am a rapper that makes hip-hop music, or I'm a singer-songwriter that does trap soul music. I personally like to look at questions like this, not only from my perspective, but also from the lens of other people. So the question, what do you do, can be so much more than just the genre of music that you make or the specific skills that you excel at. You know, it could also mean, what do you do for the people that encounter you? If growing up you've always been that person that your friends or your family could lean on, and whether it's people you know personally or people in your existing fan base, either way, if people are consistently reaching out to you for advice and for your words of encouragement, and then they're actually getting encouraged and motivated, then it could also be said that what you do is help people around you both mentally and emotionally. And now you might be asking yourself, what does that have to do with my music? Well, I mean, the more detailed that you can get and the more information that you can put together, the more accurate your starting point will be when you're creating your content. So when you move on to the next part of the Venn diagram, where you have to analyze what you stand for, you can use the information you put down for what you do and refine it even further. You feel me? Like, so using that same example from before, where a part of what you do is encourage and motivate the people around you. And for now, you know, we could put aside whatever genre you're in or whatever skill sets you have, since those should be pretty easy to figure out. So with this example, the next section could drastically change the type of people that are attracted to what you do. You can have two different artists that both have people that look up to them for advice. Depending on what they stand for, they could potentially attract polar opposite types of people. And I'm not really big into politics myself, but let's say one artist is a Democrat and the other is a Republican. And they both do similar things, but they stand by something that is the complete opposite from one another. And these differences are going to be what attracts or repels certain types of audiences or certain types of demographics. Now, I was using politics as an example, but think about things that you already believe in. Like, think about your core values and how they've shaped your decisions and the way that you carry yourself. And it's actually better to get as specific as possible, because the more specific you get, the more clearly someone can understand who you are and determine what they'll actually get from you. For some people, they'll recognize immediately that you and your brand are not for them. But that's actually a good thing, because just like they were able to quickly see that your brand and your message does not align with them and their beliefs, there's going to be people out there that are able to see just as quickly that they actually do align with you and your brand and what you stand for. So the key to good branding isn't to get, everyone to like you. Instead, it's to get a select group of people to love you. And the more time and energy and detail that you put into the first two sections of that Venn diagram, it'll actually make filling out that last section super easy. Now with the ideal fan, I feel like where a lot of artists go wrong is they assume that it's whoever they want to be fans of them, as opposed to looking at your ideal fan as someone who would naturally want to be a fan of you. Just because you want your ideal fan to be females between the ages of 18 and 24 doesn't mean that that's going to be the case. I mean, of course, you could do it backwards and kind of reverse engineer the process by choosing your ideal fan base and then crafting your brand around that desired fan. But the problem with that is you end up with a brand that comes from an inauthentic place, you feel me? And that's not just to say you can't embody some sort of character or some persona when branding yourself, but I would argue that people who have these characters, on some level at least, it still has, some sort of reflection of who they naturally are tucked inside the character. So if you start out with what you do and who you are and what you stand for, you're able to conceptualize an ideal fan based off of who you already naturally are. And it actually, it makes me think of that quote from Abraham Lincoln, where he says something like, you could fool some of the people all the time and all the people some of the time, but you'll never fool all the people all the time. It's probably not an exact quote, but you see what I'm saying, man. I feel like the best bet is to be as true to your authentic self as possible when you're crafting your brand. That way, not only do you attract people who are naturally drawn to you, but you'll also never have to worry about keeping up some type of facade or character, because all that fake stuff, man, like people can sniff that a mile away. Plus, as an artist, I don't know about you, but I want people to be a fan of me. Like, I want people to like me for me. And it sounds a little cheesy, I guess, but ain't that what we kind of all want? I mean, I guess it really depends on what your end goal is. But if this is something that you see yourself doing for the rest of your life, it really only makes sense to do it as your true and authentic self. If you're a true musicpreneur, then I'd like to offer you a lifeline and invite you to a one-on-one session with me that we'll treat like your own personal mastermind, where I'll answer any questions and we can strategize actionable steps tailored to your unique situation. I'm only opening up a limited number of slots each month, so if you'd like to apply, you can visit www.indieleverage.com/live call. And don't worry, I put the link down in the description for you. So for now, let's get back to the video. But up next, Love Poon gives us 5 mistakes that you should try to avoid when releasing music. So let's talk about it.
Here are 5 things you shouldn't do when you're releasing music. Number 1, rushing to get it released. Music marketing takes time. Give it like 4 to 5 weeks to do Spotify promotions, campaigns, emails to music blogs. They want to hear your music before you release it. It's a process. Number 2, thinking when you release your music it's gonna blow up overnight. Even though that's how it looks for some artists, that's not how it works. Number 3, when releasing music, don't post everywhere, out now, on all streaming platforms. It's not original and it's not gonna get anybody's attention. Just try to promote it differently. Number 4, don't make music solely just to get on a Spotify playlist. Spotify does not rule all. And lastly, number 5, don't beat yourself up if the release doesn't go the way you wanted it to. Most of the artists you see successful now have been working 5 to 10 years to get to where they are. Keep going.
And the first mistake I want to highlight is an artist putting out now on all platforms on their posts when they're promoting their music. So first off, I completely agree. That's not going to be an original and effective way to get people off platform and streaming your music. I mean, not only that, but if somebody does come across a post of yours like that and you happen to catch their attention, phrases like out now or on all platforms, I don't know, it gives like a cringy advertisement type of vibe, and nobody really likes to feel like they're watching an ad. In fact, if somebody's never heard of you, or if they were even already a fan and they keep seeing posts like this from you, they may eventually end up unfollowing you, or again, if it's their first time seeing you, they may be just so turned off that they never give any of your future content a chance. And now obviously you want people to know that your song is out now and it's on all of their favorite platforms. But for one, I feel like it's becoming a part of culture where people already know that they can go search for the song on like Spotify or Apple Music. So what I like to do is I'll just wait for somebody to leave a comment where they ask, what the song is called or where they could find it. Then that's where I can say something like the song is called, whatever, and it's out everywhere if you like it. And then I just end up pinning the comment so that the most engaged viewers that go to the comment section, they can see clearly what the song is called and that it's available wherever they listen to music. And that's another reason why I recommend promoting a song only once it's been released. And as far as like Spotify editorial playlists go, even though I've never personally had music placed on one, I would definitely put it into the overrated category. I mean, I've had well over 1 million streams on Spotify without a single editorial placement. And about 30 to 40% of that is because of Spotify's algorithm. So between the editorial and algorithmic playlists, I would definitely encourage artists to put more focus towards Spotify's algorithm. And I'm not saying to do anything crazy to please some random algorithm, but by doing the things that you should already be doing, like driving traffic to your music or, making quality enough music where people add it to their playlist and they're repeatedly listening to your songs. But by showing Spotify that people actually listen and engage with your music, like they're really enjoying it, it gives them enough data to push your music out to other people with similar tastes, which, at the end of the day, that should be what you want. Getting on these huge playlists, you hear from a lot of artists, it doesn't really do as much for you as you think it would. At the end of the day, you don't want passive listeners listening to your music. For me personally, I'd rather have 100,000 people listen to my song 10 times each than 1 million people listening to it once. And not only are those people more likely to continue streaming your music, but it also gives good data to Spotify that it needs to, push you out to other people that are similar to them and have the same listening habits as your existing fans. But like she said in the video, no matter what results you get, it's important that you just keep on pushing. And whether you have a successful marketing campaign or not, you'll be able to take that experience and use it as a learning moment. You feel me? So stop thinking that artists are just popping off overnight, because even when the narrative is positioned that way, the majority of the time it's not the case. And your journey as an artist is supposed to be a marathon. It's not supposed to be some quick sprint. But that was the 5 things that we shouldn't be doing when releasing music. So with this next video from Bacon Bits, we'll go over 5 things that we should be doing when releasing our music. More specifically, what to do on your actual release day.
5 things to maximize your single release day. Go live day of, talk about the song. Drop at least 3 TikToks on the day of release, one kind of featuring a chunk of the music video or whatever, one talking about like the songwriting process, and then another talking about the emotions behind the song. You can get creative with that. Maybe you do more, maybe you do it slightly different, maybe you do a skit, whatever, but at least 3 TikToks day of release. DM the people who you've already engaged with, who you've already been talking to about your music, and then send them the song. Don't just send random people who follow you, who you've never talked to before the song, but the people who've already engaged, who show their fans. Drop it in communities you're already a member of. Again, don't spam people, but if you're a member of a Discord and you talk to people, you can put your song there. Drop a playlist with your song at the top and a bunch of your friends' songs after, and then get all your friends to share the playlist. Follow for more, DM for private consultation.
All right, man. Shout out Bacon Bits. If you're on TikTok, you probably seen him before with the cigar in his hands, but we got 5 pretty solid strategies on how to promote your single on release day. The last one, putting a playlist together with other artists that you know and collectively sharing it to each of your fan bases. that's definitely not a bad idea. The only thing that I would say is make sure that their music truly aligns with your music. You know, you want to at least feel fairly confident that they have a similar fan base that would also be interested in your type of music. Like, if you guys were to all be performing at the same festival, would everybody be able to vibe throughout the whole thing from start to finish? Because there's no point in being in a playlist if your song just ends up getting skipped. You feel me? So all in all, it's not a bad strategy. I would just respect it enough to put some thought into it. I know he said going live was another good strategy for promoting a single you just released, and I definitely agree with that one. But having an audience that responds to your lives and engages with them requires for you to have conditioned them with that in mind. Like, what I'm saying is, you can't have never gone live and then all of a sudden you pop on a live and expect for people to automatically engage with it. I mean, I guess you could, but you probably won't get the results that you're hoping for. If you want going live to be a part of your strategy, then you got to make it a part of your strategy. You feel me? Like, you got to be consistent with it. But I definitely feel like going live is a good opportunity for you to connect with your fans on a deeper level. And it gives them a chance to ask you questions about your song, or honestly, just about you in general. And the more familiar that people get with you, the more they feel comfortable with you and the more they want to support you on your journey. And if you're doing it right, they may even feel like they're on this journey with you. But I definitely got to give a green light on the 3 TikToks on release day. He also posted this video on TikTok, so I'm assuming that's why he specifically mentioned that platform. But I mean, I hope it goes without saying that you should be spreading this out to the other platforms you're on as well. I mean, I personally like to post 2 to 3 TikToks every day, but really you should be posting however many you can post on a consistent basis. Even if it's just 1 post a day, it'll end up serving you better in the long run to do that rather than, you know, inconsistently post and then randomly go crazy on your release days. And that's not what bro was saying in the video, but I just wanted to clear that up because I feel like a lot of artists are posting their content from a selfish place, posting only when they have something to promote or to sell. And, you know, you got to treat it like so many other things that we have to do in life and do what you got to do even when you don't like it. And regardless of how you're feeling, you got to show up and do what you got to do every single day, because that's what it's going to take to win. That's the cost to achieve all of the things that you claim to want to achieve in life. You feel me? Like, I guess the answer really boils down to how bad do you really want this? I mean, straight up. And another tip that he was saying was to DM people that are already engaged with your content. And you'd think that this would be a no-brainer, but as a lot of us know, the amount of random and unsolicited self-promo from artists, producers, graphic designers, man, you name it, it's absolutely ridiculous, man. So yes, please, for the love of everything, please don't spam random people with your song, because that could be a quick way for them to be turned off by you and your music forever. Forever. No matter what type of hit song you got in the future, they'll get so turned off by how you approach them from the start that they never give you a chance in the end. Like, for me personally, I've gotten random DMs like that for so long that it's really become sort of a pet peeve of mine, to be real, like to the point where I would never use that specific strategy even with my engaged fans. Instead, I might put something up in my story, you know, to let people know about the new song. And then you'll have people either like the story or they'll message you replying to your story. And what that does is give you a little window to message them and to tell them that you appreciate their support. And this will give you the opportunity to have a natural conversation about your new song, not just some out the blue message of you telling them what to do. Because not only would these be people that engage with your content, these would be people that literally just engaged with content that was about that specific song. So randomly sending a DM feels cold and impersonal, even to engaged fans, while this other approach makes it feel more natural and conversational. Because then after you thank them for showing some love, you could say something like, you know, I can't wait to hear what you think of it. Hopefully it's one of your new favorites. And you can add whatever, you know, LOLs or emojis, whatever you want to do to personalize it. But by positioning the message like that, it's doing what's referred to as assuming the sale. So by saying, I can't wait to hear what you think, hopefully it's your new favorite, you're really asking them to listen to your song without asking them. And then you're positioning it like you already assume that they'll listen to it by saying, I can't wait to hear what you think. That shows that you value their opinion. And it's human nature that whenever we feel like our opinions are valued or like our opinions are important, it makes us feel good inside. You feel me? I want to say that, we're getting some sort of dopamine rush, but I'm not an expert on this. So scientifically, I have no idea why it makes us feel good, but it does. You know what I'm saying? Like, all I know is people respond positively to that. And taking it even further by saying, hopefully it's your new favorite, it also gives them a little bit of intrigue and some mystery where they might be thinking to themselves like, I wonder if this will be my new favorite. Like, I might just have to check it out. So just in case they hadn't already fully bought in and hadn't already planned on streaming your song on their own, then hopefully that gives them a slight little push to actually go and check it out. And obviously you'll be able to play around with what you say and try different approaches and angles. You're going to have to learn through trial and error what's best for you and what the best way is to communicate with your fans. But I think the only one that I'm missing was interacting with the different communities that you're a part of. And I used to do that a lot, but over time, I'm going to be real, I stopped because even when I get people responding to it, it just kind of felt, like unnatural and forced. But I mean, depending on the community and depending on how consistently you engage with the community, it definitely could be a good way to promote your single, especially when you're first starting off. But all in all, I feel like, those are 5 pretty solid strategies that we can all pick apart and fit into our own personal brands. But go ahead and let us know down in the comments which piece of advice was your favorite. We had a lot of gems in this one, and as always, I appreciate you for watching. If this is your first time on the channel, go ahead and hit subscribe, get notified for more videos like this, because I got y'all covered with new ones dropping every single week. This has been episode 5 of Let's Talk About It on Indie Leverage, and I know only the real ones are still watching, so y'all keep on pushing, because we starting to gain some leverage.
Put myself on, cause I can't settle for average. I made it a habit of doing what they couldn't get done.
What, you still here? You must not know a video to watch next or something, huh? Alright, man. I got you, bro, but you gonna have to get up out of my studio, cause yes, what the
got me showing up. You can keep your keeper behind the gate if they won't let me in. Yeah. We balancing the scales now, and we got them scared, yeah. We been gaining